there, avid listeners. Thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Wings of Ebony by J.L. This is a young adult fantasy with a touch of realism. Well, not a touch of realism, but ultimately it's a story that deals with social injustice and racial injustice. And it tackles themes like racism and colonization in a very imaginative and impactful way for the reader. Now, I have to say this, J.L., they did an amazing job with their storytelling. I have to say, when you have an opening line that says bullets don't have names, you are already highlighting that you are great with storytelling, because that's a very excellent opening line, especially when you look at the cover. You've got an African-American female on the cover. That is amazing. So you already know that the story is going to kind of deal with racism and social injustice on some level. You're kind of given this hint by the blurb as well. So the story follows Rue. She is a colored girl from East Row. It is sort of a downtrodden, gang-filled town, and it's not in the best of states. Her mother is killed on their doorstep, and what happens later is, her father comes out of nowhere and takes her to this mystical land of New Gazan that's, hidden away from the rest of the world. The thing is, everyone in New Gazan is white. They are all white, and her father are the only African Americans in this place. Now, you definitely see the racism in this land with the way her and her father are treated. Her father may be high-ranking, but other people, especially the general, who's super racist, will just call him boy. And you're just like, what in the... You just want to punch this man in his face. Because Rue certainly does half the time. And you know what? I wouldn't blame her. She's more powerful than anything. But anyway, it's just very impactful to see the story evolve, to see it grow, to see the evolution of Rue as a person. She discovers that it's not just the color of her skin that makes her a mark, it's her culture and her origins that do as well. But I love the empowerment that comes throughout this novel. And I don't think you have to be a person of color to really appreciate this story the way it's written, It's just amazing. I just have to say this. It is really amazing because Elle did a great job with the storytelling. Let me just start there. By having Rue reminisce on the past and her past experiences. She is... There are so many things that she looks back on. And the thing is, Elle, the author, does an amazing job with these flashback scenes because they don't disrupt the fluidity of what's happening. She just goes into them so smoothly. And you're kind of you're not caught off guard, you're just sucked in with Rue as she goes down memory lane. And that's what I thought was really, really captivating about the story. How we as readers are not lost in the storytelling. Overall, it is a compelling read. It is written so smoothly. And I love how it tackles these issues like racism and colonization. And Rue, she's fighting a war on two fronts. She's fighting the war at home against white men using African American kids to peddle their drugs and take the fall if they get caught. The white guys, they don't really care. Why should they? That's the racism. But she's also fighting a front, in New Gazan as well, because it turns out the magic of New Gazan, it was stolen by a tribe of African Americans. Now, for them, it's natural. It's in their blood. They're the only ones who can harness magic effortlessly and naturally. Now, that sounds really reminiscent of history, doesn't it? The white folk going to this land and taking what is not theirs. Why does that sound super familiar? Oh, that's right, because that actually happened. And I like that Elle is bringing to life this story. I feel like we can't forget history. History happened. And the only way we can become better as human beings is by addressing what happened, recognizing the wrongs of what happened, and making the effort to not repeat them. If we just ignore the past, we aren't going to learn from it. So I always appreciate it when there's such a strong and powerful message in literature. I had this teacher, she always said genre fiction is not real fiction. I always thought that was bullcrap, because if you're a good writer, you can make an impactful message with genre fiction. You can get your point across in whatever way you want to. And that's what Elle did. They got this message of racism across to the reader by addressing it and using fantasy to bring it to life. And that's what I thought was really good. And that's another thing, it's such good storytelling. I can't say that enough. There was only one hiccup, and it was near the end, and it was the romance aspect. It felt kind of like it was thrown in there. And ultimately, it didn't add anything to the story. I felt like it was thrown in there. The guy, he's calling her his queen, and he's fighting by her side throughout the ending, and not, pardon me. But the romance, it really didn't add anything to the story. It didn't really add anything to the plot. It felt thrown in there. It didn't build properly. It was just a romance that was like, let me add some romance as an afterthought. It felt like an afterthought, and I really didn't think it was necessary. However, that is the only hiccup at the ending. Otherwise, this is a very solid story. It's impactful, it's empowering, it's just so well written and told that I have to highly recommend Wings of Ebony and give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really, the only hiccup was at the ending with that romance. Once again, it just felt thrown in there. So I recommend purchasing this book from your local bookseller. Please stay away from Amazon and support a bookstore in any way that you can. If money's tight, check out the book from your library. Once again, great resource for readers everywhere, and libraries definitely deserve our support. And I hope you'll continue to support me by liking this podcast and sharing it with all your book loving friends. Hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.